it's a different path for everyone. I mean, I don't know. You run into someone, you get lucky somewhere, the best thing I'll say, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about this after we've made it, because people are going to ask me that question. I'll be like, the process getting to that point is just so brutal.
Awesome. I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new stuff with the band.
Cool. Sounds good.
Awesome. So I start off, where were you born and raised, first off?
Well, I was born in Burlington, Vermont, but I've been here in California since I was like 3 or 4. I don't know why my parents were over there. They were just running all over the place for a minute. So
Okay. So you're born in Vermont, and then your family moved to California, but was it for your family's, your dad's job?
No, no. They both grew up here. Everyone was from California. All my family was here. They just decided to like jump around a little bit. And then they ended up having me. So we were in Vermont for a couple of years, and then I lived in Athens, Georgia for like a year. But then we came here when I was like 4, I think.
Okay. Whereabouts? Are you in LA or?
Yeah, I'm in LA.
Okay.
Valley.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm from San Diego. I live in Nashville now, but
cool.
Yeah, originally from San Diego.
Oh,
awesome. So I know you. Yeah, obviously you were in acting from a young age, but what about music? Were you like, how did you get into music? Did you start off on piano, or like were you put into it at an early age at all?
No, not particularly. I mean, I have like the cliche, oh, my dad used to play me music around the house, and stuff like that, right? Which is true, I guess. I mean, my dad was a booking agent for many years growing up, so there was always kind of like a music thing going around.
Oh, really? So he would book for what? Different bands?
He would book live shows for jam bands. Yeah, he was an agent for all these, like improvising hippie jam bands and stuff. Up until COVID, he still did that. So
no way.
Yeah. And so that was like the music was like a huge thing. He was a huge Deadhead, and he had seen like over 160 Dead shows or something ridiculous. So that was like it was like a big part of the household. And I don't know. So I kind of was into it. I sang a lot growing up. I loved singing. I was in musical theater for many years. So that was like my favorite way to express musicality, I guess. My grandpa was like a really famous pianist back in the day. He tried to sit down with me and teach me to play piano when I was like 4, and I hated it. And I regret that very much in retrospect, but I didn't know, because now I don't know how to play piano at all.
I feel my dad and sister can both play piano, not like professionally or anything like that, but it's just sure. That's the one thing I was like so jealous of. I'm like, I'm not playing piano, I want to play guitar, and then now everyone can play that, and I'm not even very good at it. So it's like I failed miserably there. I wish I would have learned how to play piano.
I just think specifically for songwriting too, piano is such a helpful and unique tool, and I just missed out on it. And I don't have the work ethic to go back and learn it, so we'll see.
Sure. Well, what was the first instrument you learned? Was it guitar?
I started playing bass when I was 13.
Okay.
Because I thought guitar was too like straightforward. I wanted to do something weirder. But I ended up just like faking playing it as guitar right around the time that Royal Blood started coming up.
Oh wow.
I found out about them, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a bass, because I was already running my thing through like an octave pedal. And like playing in rock bands as the guitar. So
really,
yeah,
that's interesting.
I didn't do the full split signal thing, but I was just turning the bass into a guitar. And so I was really blown away when I found out about those guys. And yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of like a natural progression. I started writing songs and stuff, and kind of dug it. So here we are.
So you said around 13 you started playing bass. But it's interesting, the kind of the Royal Blood thing where you're running it through a pedal and making it sound like a guitar. So were you playing in a band when you were doing that? Were you like the songwriter and playing in a band?
Yeah, that happened right after high school. Maybe I was like 17, I think. Okay. I was in this band with just a drummer. And it was just guitar and drums essentially. I was just making my bass sound like guitar. And I actually ended up writing our song Junebug, which some
Oh,
Fencer
wow.
people seem to like a lot.
Yeah, it's a big one on Spotify for you
We
guys.
hate that song, but it's
Okay, I want to hear
but
about that in a minute.
it has a good amount of plays. And so yeah, I mean that's kind of how that came to be. And a lot of my early songs I wrote playing bass.
Okay.
But then I jumped around in a few other bands. I eventually met Cameron, and when we were starting our project, we didn't have a guitar player, and so I just quickly taught myself to play guitar. And that was like 6 years ago now. I'm still not very good, but I like not being good at guitar because it I don't know, I like this weird confusion between me and the instrument. Like I don't really know how to play it at all.
Okay. It's interesting. Like, instead of what made you decide to go, okay, I mean, you didn't have a guitar player. What made you say, I'll just play guitar instead of keeping it more of a bass
Well,
drum
because
driven
that at
band?
that point the Royal Blood thing had already blown up, and I felt like I was so not unique anymore because they were huge at this point.
Well, Death from Above 1979 was huge before Royal Blood, and they
Yeah,
did
but
the
they
same
weren't
thing.
as big as Royal Blood.
That's
I
true.
know Death from Above 1979, but
Yeah, that's true. And the drummer sang, which made it a little bit different.
sure. Yeah. And I don't know. And you know what? I wasn't doing it as well as either of them. So, so it was kind of like, I also like around that time, I was just getting more and more into songwriting. Cam and I met, we were in this like pop punk band where I joined as the bass player. I met on some band finding website. And then he and I eventually kind of branched off and did our own thing. But it just, I don't know, it just felt like it made sense around the time I had started kind of like finding more in playing guitar or like trying to play guitar a little bit. And for like writing songs, it just like every new instrument I've learned, whether it's just vocals, guitar, bass, and I'm sure piano and everything else, I write completely differently when using them. It's like a
Okay.
completely new realm of songwriting. And I think that's what was inspiring me around that time. And so I've just stuck to it. That's why I need to pick something else up now because I want to write new shit.
Okay. So yeah, when you're writing the stuff you're writing on bass was drastically different than when you started writing songs on guitar.
Yeah, I think it's more of a thing. Like I try and not write on instruments as much as I can, just like do it vocally, because I
Mhm.
think it's a thing of when you get into consistent patterns with whatever you play or whatever you sing or whatever kind of things, and you end up just doing very similar things over and over again, because you just are familiar doing that. So when you have a new instrument that is completely foreign to you, it's just like there are no prerequisites in your head of
Mhm.
like, oh well, I generally have done this hundreds of times and stuff like that, even subconsciously. So I don't know.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's like you're not going to kind of stay not complacent, but like kind of in that same mindset when you're writing on a bass versus then, okay, now I'm going to change it up completely here. I'm going to write on
Yeah,
guitar.
exactly. I think you just come up with different things.
Sure. Sure. So when did you start Fencer then? Was that, you said about 5 years ago?
I was February 2017, so
Oh, like
6 years
6
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like once you started that band? Was like music? I mean, just because you've acted in a lot of stuff and you kind of did that from an early age.
Yeah.
Um, like moving on to music. Like, was there a shift where you're like, I don't really want to do the acting thing much anymore. I'm kind of obsessed with the songwriting thing.
Yeah. When I got into, because I started acting when I was like 6. So
Hmm.
around, I don't know, when I was maybe like a sophomore in high school, so I was like 15 or 16, I was getting burnt out at that point.
Hmm.
I could have stuck with it. It was just like it was my first time in a public school, and there were friends and girls and
Sure.
weed, and I was like, this is awesome. And so I just kind of took a break to like actually have like a real social life for the first time. And I don't know, I tried again a little bit after high school. I did it for like another year, and it was just I was just bombing a bunch of auditions. My heart wasn't in it anymore. And
Hmm.
you gotta be 100% at something like that. So I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do for a second. I thought I wanted to go into directing. I thought I wanted to go into filmmaking. I wasn't sure. Um, but ultimately I was in that band with just the drummer of me playing my guitar bass thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote that Junebug song and he and I played for a bit. And I was like, this is, I think another big thing about it is when I had shown a couple of the songs that we had written to some people in my circle, everyone was very honest with me and they were all like, whoa, you like wrote like a real song. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so there was a lot of like pause, and I just live off what other people think of me. So there was a lot of positive encouragement in the circle of like, dude, you like wrote real songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of gave me this little like, I don't know, this little like boost, this little high of wow, okay, maybe I'm good at this. And I've always loved singing. So it was just kind of, I don't know, I just ran with it and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this.
Okay. You said you had written Junebug a long time ago then, or like
Yeah.
early on for the.
This was probably 2015. Then we also played that song specifically in that pop punk band that Cameron and I were in, where we met, which was like 2016. So it just carried over for
Okay.
for a bit.
It carried
There have
over.
been many different variations of it.
Okay. And what you said you hate that song, or that's what you
Yeah,
said
it's
earlier.
not a very good song. It's I don't know. It's catchy, but it's just like it's just about me not liking bugs.
Sure, but I mean, yeah, that's interesting.
That's like the whole song. I don't know.
Just
Yeah.
interesting. That's funny that you said that.
We all
So
played that song, but I think part of it is because I've been playing that song for now since I was like 18 years old.
right. So it's like if you were to ask a like Green Day to play something off their first out, like their EP, they'd be like, really? Like
Right.
you
Play
want to
Green
play a song I
Day,
wrote when I was
DJ.
15?
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. But you didn't put it as, I'm just going off of
Yeah.
Spotify, so who knows if this is accurate at all. That was on the record from 2019 though.
Yeah.
So
So
you held on to it for a while?
now we put it out. Well, that's where like industry background stuff happens. We put it out in like 2017 on an EP. We put out an EP called which I think is still like we left it up on Bandcamp and SoundCloud and stuff.
Okay.
And it was fine. I mean, it wasn't as good as the version that's out now, but then we had some people involved, some team-esque people involved, and ultimately that was taken down off streaming, and we redid the song. You know, when we had a little more going on around 2019, and that became like, oh, this is our new introduction to the world.
Oh, I see.
So it was just like a song that just like sat around forever. We weren't like, let's wait on this. We got to wait and get this right. We put it out like so many times.
Okay, because I didn't know if it was because like you said you aren't in love with it. You wanted to wait, like because I did see that you put out with in 2017, but I haven't seen the track listing, so I didn't know if it was like, yeah, we decided not to put it on that, but when the next when Growing Up Selfish came out, we're like, let's just record it and put it on that record.
It was, I mean, we liked it at the time. Still, I mean, we don't hate it. It's just like, it's not a favorite of ours. We like our current stuff a lot more. So it's
right.
It's not representative of where we're at, but
gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it was something we were like, yeah, that's a song we should really get going with. And a lot of people around us were like, yeah, we need to do that song. So
okay, that makes sense. So once you do, I mean, your EP in 2017, like, are you guys just playing around LA? Like how are you kind of getting a name for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, well, we had no idea what we were doing. I feel like a lot of people get even a much earlier start on this of like being in their own band and stuff and like playing and like really trying to like learn the whole system younger. But I mean, Cameron and I at this point, we're both 19. Mm-hmm. And I know he had been playing in bands his whole life, but none of us had been like actually like really doing it. So we were playing locally and we were like super stoked on every show we got. We're like, oh my God, we're playing another show. This is crazy. It was just like, I guess let's just keep seeing what happens. and ultimately, I mean, we just kind of, everything that has happened, which isn't that much, but everything we've learned has just happened naturally. I don't like really learning. I'm not good at learning, so it's a very good thing that everything's just kind of happened. And I feel like I know a lot now, 6 years later,
Mhm.
just by experience, which is really nice. Because I didn't have to sit down and go, I'm going to learn how to play piano. It was like a like it just kind of all naturally occurred. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's something to be said about that, though. I mean, if you look at I'm just relating it to even, like, the workforce, right? If you get a
Sure.
degree in something and you know all of the, like, studious piece of it, and I've been working in the industry for 10 years, and I don't have a degree, and we both applied for the same job, they'd probably give it to the person that actually has the experience doing it, not the piece of paper,
Sure.
validating, I guess. It's
Right.
almost like you said, like, things are just happening, but it's because you've been doing it, right? You've been doing it for 6 years, you're kind of learning as you go along.
Well, on that point, I mean, like when I got out of high school and I was like, I'm not doing acting, I was like, and I was thinking about doing music, I was like, well, I'm not going to go to school for music. That's not going to teach me the things that I need to know to like be in a band.
Right.
Um, and I was totally right about that. I mean, I'm not like I now, oh, now I have it all figured out or something, but like everything I have learned from these years of just kind of trying to saturate myself in the industry, like that's not shit I would have learned in like a classroom about music theory and stuff. I don't know. It's
Right. No,
not the same type of thing.
for sure. And I've interviewed a ton of artists that have went to like Belmont or Berkeley, and they get 2 years in and get a record deal or get on join their band takes off, and it's like
Right.
then they leave because, well, I accomplished kind of what the goal would have been when I finished anyway. So
Exactly. Yeah.
why would I continue spending money? But okay, so you got 2017, you put that EP out. Like, what was you start getting shows in LA, and what's kind of the next moment for you?
Well, we hooked up with the singer of a band called Bad Flower. His name
Oh
is
yeah.
Josh Katz. Yeah. And that was like I think late 2017. I ran into him and I knew his band, and so we started talking. And he wanted to work with us and wanted to record for us. And so I think he heard the old version of Junebug and flipped out over it or something. Um, and yeah, and so we got kind of in bed with that little family, and that was awesome. They're all great guys, and so he produced our Growing Up Selfish EP that
Hmm.
came out in 2019. And they brought us on a couple really cool tours, and so just continued to open up some doors for us. And then COVID hit, and that slowed us all, and
Yeah.
obviously
Wow.
it slowed
Well, real
everyone.
quick. So yeah, that obvious. I mean, you're getting. I mean, they're a big band, and to be able to open for them, and you're getting
Yeah,
these big tours, and probably a lot of eyes and ears on your songs in your band, and then to have COVID happen, like how. I mean, everyone had to deal with it, but was it like, oh my gosh, we finally started to gain some traction, and now we're all stuck here? Like, was that
yeah,
kind of defeating?
basically.
Like, how did you move
And
forward through that?
I mean, and we really didn't for a while. I mean, I apart from that, and I know everyone was dealing with a lot, but like I was dealing with a serious mental health journey of like a like recovery mode of like I was all over the place from like I don't know mid 2019 till like mid 2021. So there was like a good period of time where I was just like out of commission, and I'm supposed to like lead this project and motivate everyone and make things happen and be productive. And that was like on top of COVID hitting, like
Mhm.
I was not in a position to be able to do that at the time. And so it just kind of our momentum just kind of plummeted a bit. And it was hard. It was hard. It was hard to continue to find excitement about it when there was just nothing. Um,
Mhm.
but ultimately, what happened is we started kind of Cameron had been teaching himself to engineer this whole time and like self-produce basically. And so we ended up coming. We have this little studio, which we call Fensory HQ. We ended up getting back in there a little bit early in the pandemic and just started recording just started recording ourselves. I don't think we knew what we were trying. We were just like, I don't know. We were just like, we need to put more music out. We don't have enough out. And so we just started tracking stuff, and we ended up with like 13 songs after like a couple months.
Wow.
And we deleted all of them because we didn't like it.
Oh, so you wrote 13 songs and
yeah, we recorded. I mean, they were almost fully mixed. Like we was in the full process, and then we were like, this isn't it. And we trashed it all. But at that point, we had this like adrenaline from like making that decision. They were like, okay, let's do it again. And then we made the album that we have out now. Right after then, we self-produced it all over most of lockdown and everything. And that was a big kind of thing, a big like kickstart for the band to kind of get back in there and keep at it and feel some new energy and stuff.
I mean, you spoke about having, struggle with mental health for a couple of years or whatever it was, like in the beginning. And was that prior to COVID also? And that just kind of like, as far as the songwriting goes, I mean, to be writing around that time, was that what we hear in the album? Is it a lot of what you were dealing with?
Well, I mean, prior to COVID and still today, right now, actually, no, but it's just like, yeah. I mean, it's something I've struggled with my whole adult life. But definitely the album content is in some of the worst of it. Okay. And so it was, I don't know, it didn't seem like at the time I wasn't like, oh, this is the worst. Cool, I'm having such good ideas or something like that. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, though, when I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess all of those songs were written when I was kind of all over the place. So that is, what you hear. I mean, all our songs are really kind of mental health related anyways, but especially this album for sure.
Okay. So I was wondering if it was like almost like a therapeutic, maybe it was still therapeutic, but like a processing of what you were dealing with, but it sounds like you were just in the thick of it while you were writing the songs anyway.
Yeah, I've never found songwriting particularly therapeutic. I know that's a thing for a lot of people, and it's happened once or twice where I've been like, oh, I get that. But generally it's not. It's a fun thing. I don't like writing lyrics first. They're like the very, very last thing I do. I like building song structure and constructing melodies, and like making band moments. I'm like, oh, that's sick. That stuff excites me. But like having actual like the meaning and lyrics, that all comes later. Often I'll write lyrics like, cool, Field, we're about to record vocals. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh wow.
Like with our song Sleep Count, I wrote the lyrics for that song like 50 seconds before I recorded them.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not always the case. I mean, like my favorite track on the album, Bad Bet, that song was very much an example of therapeutic writing and super, super intense focus on lyricism and stuff like that. But I would say generally, like, that's not my kind of approach to it.
Okay. And with like, so it sounds like you guys get together and write as a band, and then from there, you hash out the lyrics after the song is built?
Yeah, usually Cam or I will bring in like a riff or an idea or some kind of like rough structure or something, and we just set up in like a little triangle all facing each other, like just live with our amps and everything. And we just like, I don't know, we just play it, and if anyone has ideas, they call them out. And there's a lot of me like yelling at people in the microphone saying, no, I meant like the da part, do that. Like, so, but that's how we've always done it. We've thought about like switching up our writing style, not our style, but like our writing process. But I don't know, there's something to me that's fun and like endearing about just like the three of us setting up live, like all like really close together, facing each other, and just kind of having to shout over loud amps to like explain things that don't really make a lot of sense. Like, no, I meant this here. And like, I don't know, it's something fun about it.
No, sure. Yeah. It's not like you come to the band and are like, okay, here's a song. I have the lyrics and the melody and here's the chords, and we'll kind of hash it out together. It's you're right. All like kind of in the mood, like in the moment together writing.
Definitely.
Very cool. So on this record, what would you say, like, do do you think like there's something that came out of it that you wouldn't have gotten or captured if it wasn't for COVID and when the time period that you guys were recording it?
You know, I don't know. I think more so than the time period, it was just kind of the aspect of self-producing it,
Mm,
and the way we went about doing it, the way we were kind of learning how to do it as we were doing it. And we would just get together, however many nights a week, and be there for, you know, many hours. Just, all right, let's just do drums now. And Cameron's like trying to set up his mics, and we listened to the whole drum thing. And then like a few days later, he's like, Field, I got to redo all the drums. It just sounded like shit. And so, and it was just like that for like every instrument of every song of everything, of like, just there was a lot of fun creativity that went into this because it was just the three of us. There was no one else there
mhm.
at any point for any of the production, for like hundreds of hours. And so
Wow.
it was, I think that allowed us to just have a lot of fun with it, and really, it was cool to show people, like, even when we had like demos ready and stuff, like everyone's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh yeah, we've been recording stuff. You're like, I've been hearing that for like 8 months. What are you doing? Um, because no one had seen it except for us. So it's cool.
Right. So you all self-produced the whole album, the new
Yeah.
album?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
all the credits are all written by Fencer, produced by Fencer, performed by Fencer. We had a fantastic guy named Henry Lunetta mix the whole thing. And Zach Fisher, who works at Big Bad Sound LA, he mastered the whole album. But the personnel was just the five of us, and
Wow.
I wanted to keep the personnel as tiny as possible because I thought it was cool. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. That is awesome. And you did recently played what a album release show. Are you doing like a tour for the album at all? Or like what do you have coming up?
Yeah, we don't have anything to announce, but that's definitely the plan, is to start getting out there. And because we did a bunch in the Midwest and East Coast in the past, so we have a lot of people who really dig us out there. So the idea is to go back and promote the album. um and yeah, I mean, otherwise in the meantime, we've just got some local shows we're still doing. But I think the goal for us right now is just like maintain content, because there was a long period of time after our EP release, granted it was COVID, but that we were just kind of like didn't do much.
Mhm.
And I think the idea right now is to just kind of continue the flow of being an active band.
Right. And that's hard, right? To keep up on the content. It just gets so oversaturated that you have to like
Yeah.
I feel like you have to continually just put stuff together. Is that something you guys have to work on like a daily basis?
Yeah, and we don't. And that's the problem, is because like I have serious like executive function and like motivation problems. And so like TikTok is something we do make TikToks, but like I personally, I'm like, I need to tackle that so hard. That is like the best social media outlet that is built to advertise not to your circle of people.
Right.
And it's what I need to be doing. And every day it's like, oh my God, it's just, it makes me anxious. And it
Same here,
sucks.
man.
I hate it.
I can't even open that app. It gives me anxiety. I'm like,
I
oh my
know.
God.
And I hate that that's an aspect of doing this today, but it totally is. And so
Mhm.
apart from that, we've just got a bunch of stuff planned, like lots of video content and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just is what it is. Yeah, it's something I'm constantly thinking about, and we're constantly talking about, and we are working on. But I mean, I know if I had a better work ethic, or like some of these cats you see out there, like we would definitely have a lot more going on.
Mhm.
But it's hard, and you have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt, because you can only do your best, right? Not everyone is able to do a million things, and that's
Right.
great for the
And
people who are. But some people, I just got to kind of allow myself to do what I'm able to do every day, and you know give myself that credit and stuff. So
no, definitely. And I feel like a lot of the people that you're seeing put stuff out heavily, right? They got teams behind them and everything else that are like,
exactly,
yeah.
it's just us. We all have jobs too, because we're
Right.
trying to live
Yeah.
in LA. So
Yeah, right. Which isn't easy. It's, even if you have
No.
multiple jobs. Well, Phil, thank you so much, man, for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. It was great.
Yeah, I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Dude, that's the silliest question ever. I want to know if any artists have advice for me.
Well, you've done stuff, man.
No, dude, I think I don't think there's any advice you can give anyone specifically, because the music scene and the industry changes so rapidly. You know, the advice that Josh from Bad Flower gave me when I met him in 2017 isn't helpful now, because he came up in a different industry before streaming and everything even hit, let alone before the socials became what they are now. So it's a different path for everyone. I mean, I don't know. You run into someone, you get lucky somewhere, you know, the best thing I'll say, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about this after we've made it, because people are going to ask me that question. I'm gonna be like, the process getting to that point is just so brutal. It's so brutal, but it's just like utter persistence. I think you have to know you have something. You have to believe in your project, and you just have to persist like no one's fucking business. Like, you just can't stop, because it would be so easy so many times for us to just be like, all right, we admit defeat. And I bet so many people do that. Amazing things that we'll never hear, because it's brutal. So create as many opportunities for luck as possible, because you need some luck. So the more opportunities you create, the more opportunity there is for it to happen. And make sure you're good, and then just don't stop. That's
great advice. No, that's great advice.
I don't know. I think it's good advice. That's what I follow.